That night, when Imran came home, I waited for him. Beta, I said softly. Aisha suggested I visit my sister for a while. He hesitated, looking uncomfortable. Yes, Amy. I think it'll be good for you. A change of environment. I looked at him. Really looked. And realized that the boy who once couldn't sleep without saying goodnight to me now couldn't meet my eyes. I smiled gently. All right, Imran. I'll go. He nodded, relieved. You'll feel better, Amy. I promise. But deep inside, I knew the truth. This wasn't about me needing a change. It was about them wanting peace. The kind that comes when one person quietly steps aside. And so, the next morning, I began to pack. Each fold of clothing felt like a chapter closing. I didn't cry. I didn't ask for an explanation. Because sometimes, when love hurts too much, silence is the only dignity you have left. The morning I left my home began like any other. The call to prayer floated softly through the still air. The sun had not yet risen, and a pale silver light touched the curtains. I woke early as I always did, made ablution and prayed. But that morning, every word of my prayer carried a different weight. Instead of asking for blessings, I whispered for courage. Courage to walk away with peace in my heart. After prayer, I folded my mat carefully, as though folding away a part of my life. I went to the kitchen. The house was silent. I made tea the way I always did, strong with cardamom. The aroma filled the small space, and for a moment I almost believed everything was still normal. But when I placed 2 cups on the tray, I stopped. I remembered that for weeks now, I'd been drinking alone. So I removed 1 cup and carried only mine to the table. I sat there, sipping slowly, my hands trembling just a little. My heart was heavy, but my face felt calm. The way it does when you've cried enough in silence and there are no tears left. Around mid-morning, Aisha came downstairs. She was dressed neatly, her hair pinned back, her phone in her hand. She looked at my small suitcase by the door and said softly, "You're already packed?" "Yes, Beta," I replied. "I thought it's better to leave early. The train will be crowded later." She hesitated. Should I call Imran? He wanted to say goodbye. I shook my head gently. He's at work, isn't he? Let him be. He's busy. For a moment, she looked like she wanted to say something more. But instead she only nodded. All right. I'll order the car. There was a quiet between us. Not uncomfortable, but full of unspoken things. When the car arrived, she helped me carry the suitcase out. The driver placed it in the trunk. I turned back once, letting my eyes rest on the house, the gate, the small garden, the front door I had opened thousands of times. I thought of all the mornings I'd stood there waiting for Imran to return from school. All the evenings I'd watered those plants while humming his favorite songs. Every brick held a memory. And yet, in that moment, it felt like the house no longer knew my name. Aisha stood beside me, shifting uncomfortably. "Amy," she said softly, "I hope you don't misunderstand. We just thought you'd be happier there. My mother always says a change of place can lift the heart." I smiled at her, a real smile, small but genuine. "I don't misunderstand, Beta. You're right. A change might be good." She seemed relieved. "I'll make sure Imran calls you tonight." I nodded and stepped into the car. As the driver started the engine, I looked out of the window. Aisha waved politely. I lifted my hand in return. Then the gate closed behind us, and I felt something inside me close as well. The road stretched long and empty ahead. I watched the city pass by, the markets, the trees, the small tea stalls where I used to buy snacks for Imran after school. Every corner carried a memory. I remembered him as a little boy, running toward me with scraped knees crying, "Amy." I remembered him studying late at night while I stitched clothes beside him. I remembered the day he graduated. How he'd hugged me so tightly and said, "Everything I am, Amy, is because of you." Those words echoed in my mind like a promise that had somehow gotten lost along the way. When I reached my sister's home, she was standing at the door surprised. "Salma, you didn't tell me you were coming," she said, pulling me into a warm embrace. I smiled weakly. It was sudden. I just thought I'd visit for a while. She studied my face for a long moment. "Did something happen?" I shook my head. "No, nothing happened. I just needed some time away." She didn't press further. She knew me well enough to understand that some wounds need silence more than questions. In the days that followed, I tried to settle into her home. She and her husband were kind. They made space for me, treated me with warmth. But at night, when everyone slept, I would lie awake, listening to the ticking of the old clock and the whisper of the ceiling fan. That's when the memories came rushing in. Every laugh, every smile, every meal shared in that house I had left behind. I thought of Imran. I wondered if he missed me. I told myself he would call soon, perhaps that night or tomorrow. But tomorrow came and went. No call. On the fourth day, my sister handed me the phone. Salma, it's Imran. My heart fluttered. Imran. How are you, Beta? He sounded cheerful, almost distracted. I'm good, Amy. Just checking in. Aisha said you reached safely. Yes, I said, trying to hide my joy just at hearing his voice. I'm fine. The weather here is pleasant. He paused. Good. Take rest, okay? Don't worry about anything here. There was so much I wanted to say, to tell him I missed him, to ask if he had eaten, to remind him of the food in the freezer, the way mothers do. But before I could, he said, Amy, I'll call again later. Aisha needs me. And then the line went silent. I sat there, staring at the phone, the echo of his voice still warm in my ear. Days turned into weeks. The calls came rarely, each one shorter than the last. He always sounded busy, work, errands, some new project. Once I gathered courage to ask, when are you coming to visit? There was a pause. Then he said, soon, Amy. Maybe next month. Things are just hectic right now. I smiled into the phone, though tears were already slipping down my cheeks. Of course, Beta. Take your time. When the call ended, I held the phone close to my chest and whispered, may you never know loneliness, my son. A few weeks later, I decided to send him a letter. It wasn't long, just a few lines written in my careful handwriting. My dear Imran, I hope you are well. I pray for you and Aisha every day. The garden must be blooming by now. Don't forget to water the jasmine plants. They love the morning sun. Take care of yourself, Beta. And remember, this heart of mine is always your home. Your Amy. I sealed it and mailed it the next morning. But days passed, and there was no reply. One evening, my sister handed me her phone again. Imran sent a message, she said softly. It was short. Got your letter, Amy. Glad you're okay. Take care. That was all. No, I miss you. No warmth, just polite distance. I stared at the words for a long time before setting the phone aside. It was then I realized, he hadn't just turned away. He had been gently guided away, step by step, until he believed this distance was normal. The breaking point came a few months later. A neighbor from my old street visited my sister.